Welcome everybody to this webinar. Good morning, or depending where you're joining from, good afternoon. We'll speak about device connectivity for digital plant asset management today. I assume that most of you know Softing or Soft Industrial, but maybe some of you don't. So please allow me to start with one slide about Softing, the company. We are based in Germany, HART, which is just outside Munich in the south of Germany. There is a holding structure, so we have a parent company, Softing AG, and underneath this parent company, there are 3 business units, as you can see here on the slide. So there's one unit focusing on embedded systems for vehicle, automotive, or ECUs. One division which is called IT Networks, focusing, let's say, on test devices for cabling or wiring. And there's Softing Industrial, which is speaking here today. So Softing Industrial is around 4 decades old. We have long history and experience in industrial communication. So we understand the technology of automation protocols, the architecture of industrial networks. This is really our core competence. And the area we have been active as said since many years now. We develop and we market standard products, and we distinguish, as you also see here on the slide, between 3 different market segments or units. Maybe I begin with the box at the right hand and technology integration. You could say that's very old business. So we develop, we market SDKs, protocol stacks, hardware modules, which we sell, for example, to device manufacturers or maybe also to software vendors needing client functionality. Then if you look at the left box, automotive networks, also traditional business, we sell, again, hardware, software products, components in automation networks to end customers, network operators. And we have here, we distinguish here a new segment, industrial IoT, which is maybe technically speaking not so different from the traditional business, but which requires a different go-to-market approach, potentially different people among end customer organizations taking investments decisions. So that's why here we distinguish the industrial IoT segment. Our total revenue last year around 115 million euro on AG level, around 400 employees worldwide. And while we are based in Germany, we definitely have a global presence. So subsidiaries in the United States, Italy, France, Austria. More recently, we added China. We also have an office in India. And then, of course, on top of that, a global network of distributors. Okay, so having said that, let's begin with the real topic today. So what is the challenge, the customer challenge we are trying to address? What is this webinar about? Device connectivity for plant asset management. Well, I think we all understand, we all know, I can keep that short, the pressure here to become more efficient. So process plant operators need to think about how they can optimize operation, how to increase capacity. Predictive maintenance is an important topic, of course. So all these factors and many more drive here a modernization or optimization of plants. When we look at the market, we see that many smart field devices which maybe have extra information about health, are already deployed. So this is not really new. We see a fairly large number of field devices with these capabilities. We also see that the market for plant asset management solutions, which ones we'll speak about those later, is growing, and many customers have started using them one way or another. And we see here, as I already distinguished IoT from plant asset management, we see here modern, most innovative IoT solutions, maybe based on big data analytics, machine learning, which offer even more potential to optimize production with data-driven insights. It's a good point, maybe just as a quick additional remark here, plant asset management and IoT. IoT is certainly a somewhat fuzzy term. you could argue we potentially see a merger between those categories, but as of today, I think we can agree there are traditional plant asset management applications and solutions which are available now since quite a while, and they are clearly different from most modern solution architectures that we summarize under the term IoT. Now, on the other hand, so this is the situation, but many of those smart devices that are deployed are actually not connected to plant asset management, which means that many customers, while they deployed those devices, while they may even be running a plant asset management solution, don't use these components to their full potential. And this is what we want to talk about today. So we are the specialist for connectivity. We are not here to sell you, we don't offer, we are not here to sell you a plant asset management solution, but we sell connectivity components that can help you to use your plant asset management solution and your smart field devices better by connecting them. So let's take a look at the process here behind digital plant asset management. I was now speaking already about plant asset management platforms, but of course, as you know, there's also more, probably you could call it traditional process, how to work with smart devices, and this is by mobile handheld. So users may take a laptop or a tablet, a smartphone, they take a modem, and they connect to the device on the spot, so to say, temporarily. So you need to pre-configure it maybe while it's still while it's not deployed. You can do it that way, or you may just walk into your plant, connect the device, and perform a maintenance task. So this is what I like to call your traditional process. You have dedicated devices which help you to connect that way. At Softing, we have a product family which we call smartLink, which allows you to do that. And then there is, I call it the advanced process, a second way to do it. And this is now the way how I would like to describe here the deployment or the use of a central plant asset management platform. So it's central. You may run quite a few applications on that platform. And practically always you want to have permanent connectivity that you constantly can monitor, receive data from your field devices. This now may, as already said, there is a somewhat fuzzy term IoT, so potentially this may merge with IoT, or you may have a second IoT platform next to a plant asset management platform. So this is then also definitely a more advanced way how to work with digital plant asset management. And to enable such solutions, we have a second product family, which is called smartLink. And this is in the focus of what we speak about. So today I just mentioned smartLink. In what follows now in this presentation, we will focus on the second scenario and how we can enable here connectivity with a central platform, permanent connection via our smartLink product family.
Okay, when you are inventing a central asset management platform, you may run over several problems we mentioned here. So the first one is so that you have an FDI EDD-based asset management application, so like the ones from ABB, the FIM or Emerson AMS Device Manager, and you have HART devices connected to controllers or remote IOs of the companies you see here on the right side, and you cannot access them via these applications. Or you have a PROFIBUS BP control communication between the controller and remote IOs, again, of these vendors you see on the right side. You need to access the HART devices connected to these remote IOs with your asset management application, either, again, FDI EDD-based or DTN-based. Or the third one, you have Siemens VT200 remote IOs and want to parameterize connected HART devices with FTT applications like the Anderson Thaler FieldCare or PACTware or any other FTT-based application. Then the solution are our two products, smartLink SWHT and the smartLink HWDP. I will come later then to a little bit more details on these products, but both then allow you to use a central asset management application for all the HART devices in your plant. Coming now to the first product, I want to have a little bit closer look. That's the smartLink SWHT. So this application allows you from a central asset management, like you see here. SWHT is a software application, so that allows you to connect to controllers or remote IOs, having then IO modules for HART devices, which then allows to communicate here the asset management application with the HART devices, either on the controller or on the remote IO. So what we are supporting here are Ethernet-based controllers from Allen Bradley and Schneider Electric, and remote IOs from Allen Bradley, Siemens, Schneider Electric, Stahl, and Turk. So that's the one you can then use together with the central asset management application. The access to the HART devices is independent from the controller you are using. So if you see this path from asset management via remote IO to the controller, we are not touching the communication from the controller to the remote IO. So what we are establishing here is a second channel from your asset management application to the HART devices. That's done via our smartLink software solution. In that scenario, we have an optional routing that we are supporting, and that's a routing. If you have a controller from Allen Bradley or Schneider Electric, they support routing requests. We send them to remote IOs, which are connected to the controller via Ethernet bridge modules. So you can have there an hierarchical architecture of your controller and remote IOs, and use one central access point like this one here, really to connect to the HART devices in the segments below it. As that, it's optional for all the others. So if we talk about pure remote IOs from, let's say, Siemens or Stahl and Turk, smartLink SWHT has to have a connection to this control network you see here in blue. It's possible to integrate the smartLink products without interference of the existing operation. So as you see here, if you have a switch like here and you have a free port, you simply can connect the smartLink to the control network. You don't need any change in the controller program. It will also not interfere the standard controller communication, because we are using here an additional asynchronous communication to send HART commands to the HART devices. If you compare it with, let's say, a typical installation you do without smartLink, that's adding a HART multiplexer to your installation, where you have to install additional hardware, where you have to install additional cabling, so that you can access values or send HART commands to the HART devices. So here we are using with our solution the existing infrastructure to access the HART devices, and you don't have any additional cost involved with additional hardware, additional cabling. As mentioned before, so we have here the possibilities for the asset management application to do a transparent HART communication over HART IP. So that's the interface we are providing here on the north side with our smartLink SWHT. And that means the application on top has no limitations on the supported HART devices. So any devices you have are possible to be parameterized to be monitored. Okay, then let's have a look at the second solution. So I also mentioned PROFIBUS. So we have with the smartLink HWDP, we have a product which is supporting PROFIBUS. So here on the right side, you see it's a hardware device where we have one connection for the asset management, and here is PROFIBUS connector for the PROFIBUS DP segment. So the product again allows connections from asset management here over Ethernet, then over PROFIBUS DP to remote IOs connected to a PROFIBUS DP segment. Here we are supporting remote IOs from Siemens, from ABB, Pepper & Fuchs, Arstal, Turk, or Wago. Again, as before, so we have PLC independent access to PROFIBUS DP networks. So we are, in that case, not really care about which kind of controller you have here. That could be any PROFIBUS DP master running on this network. We are establishing here also a second connection from the smartLink on the PROFIBUS to each of these remote IOs. Second channel for the HART device or for the asset management application to connect to the HART devices. Again, integration without interference of existing operations and existing installations. Here, of course, since PROFIBUS DP is a bus, it's a little bit more to concern than with the Ethernet connectivity. smartLink HWDP has to be configured with, let's say, the same bus parameters as the PROFIBUS master already is using. But in that case, it runs also, again, in parallel to the cyclic communication of the PROFIBUS master. Again, as explained already before, you don't need any additional hardware in addition to, of course, our gateway device. So if you compare it with a multiplexer solution, it's much easier to integrate, has no additional costs for more hardware than this PROFIBUS DP access point. Again, here we have transparent communication over HART IP. So we have here, again, HART IP, which is used from asset management application to our smartLink. And then smartLink is transferring this communication to HART over PROFIBUS in that case, and then sends commands to the HART device, and the HART commands being sent and the way or back to the asset management application. So completely transparent for asset management application, and of course also for the HART device itself. Okay, we have a second range of products which now allow you to access Profinet networks. So if you're already using Profinet for your control communication and you need a secure access point to asset management, or if you are using Profinet networks, which includes remote IOs with HART devices and proxies with Profibus devices, and you need to manage all these devices in your central asset management, so Profinet, Profibus, and HART. Then we have a very new product line, that's the smartLink HWPN or the smartLink SWPN, which allow you to access Profinet networks and the devices connected to it in your asset management application. So you can use one central asset management application for all Profinet, Profibus, or devices in your Profinet network. Also here, some more detailed explanation what the product is doing. What you see here again on the right side is our hardware variant. So it's the smartLink HWPN. We also have that as a software appliance. So it provides, again here, for asset management application, access independent from the PLC to now a Profinet network and Profinet devices here attached to the Profinet network. That could be, like here shown in the picture, already Ethernet APL devices which support Profinet, or any other standard Profinet devices. And the asset management application that has direct access to that one. Without talking Profinet, we have here different communication protocol that come later to that one. So integration into the Profinet network without interference of the existing operation. Also here, as on the product before, for asset management, smartLink is established a second channel to this device, and of course, controller still has its control communication, cyclic communication with the device running, and it's not interfered with. Besides Profinet devices, we are also supporting Profibus devices that could be either Profibus DP or Profibus PA. And you see here different scenarios how we support them. So that's typically done while supporting proxies from Profinet to Profibus, which are a standard specified in the Profinet specification. So there could be either, if you look here at that Ethernet APL switch, a lot of them are supporting also for backward compatibility to attach Profibus PA devices. So you can attach your Profibus PA device and have asset management application accessing these Profibus PA devices. It could be a standard proxy like our Softing PM Gate PA proxy, which allows you to tap Profibus PA segments to a Profinet network, or Profibus DP proxy, like our PM Gate DP, which allows to add Profibus DB devices to a Profinet network. And all of those can then be accessed from the asset management application. So what we provide here on the north side for the transparent Profinet or Profibus communication is an integrated FDI communication server, which then allows the asset management application to send any commands again to the devices. As already mentioned, product is available as a hardware appliance and software module. And we will add in Q3 also support for HART devices, which are connected to remote IOs again here on the Profinet network. And in that case, we will use, again, HART IP for the communication from asset management to the HART devices you see here. Currently, we support already a number of asset management applications. As I mentioned before, the EDD FDI-based ones from ABB, that's the Field Information Manager, FIM, and Emerson AMS Device Manager. We also support FTT frameworks. Currently, we test here always with Anderson Hauser FieldCare PACTware. But as mentioned before, also other frameworks using FTT like Yokogawa PRM or Honeywell FDM are possible to be used here. Additionally, for the SmartLink HWDP, we already integrated OPC UA and MQTT support for more IoT-based applications, which are implementing these NOAA-compliant architectures. As said, it's already in the SmartLink HWDP. For other SmartLink products, that's on the roadmap, so where we step-by-step also will enable them then to additional interfaces to provide them data to other applications than client asset management platforms.
Yeah, so I think I will present now the remaining slides about 2 case studies. Thomas, you remain presenter. Time is nearly over. I think if you do a quick time check, the 30 minutes are over. It's, I hope, okay for everyone. We use a few more minutes. I'll try to keep that really short here. So you see here a first reference, so-called floating production storage and offloading vessels. You see a picture. Next slide, Thomas. So I'm not an expert at all regarding this topic, but I have this rough understanding. As in this image here, it's a vessel that connects multiple wells, and the first, let's say, point where to collect here oil. And what was this project? Let's say, what were the boundary conditions? Next slide. So it's an oil field development, 15 wells, as you can see here. Maybe a bit non-typical. It's really greenfield, so it's not an existing installation where we then come in to connect additional devices, but it's a greenfield project. The customer is using Amazon AMS Device Manager and wants to connect here all the devices in the field, including, as expected, HART devices. Apparently, the customer tried alternative products, but was not entirely happy. And on a bit more technical level, in the first stage here, the need is to connect about 400 devices, not many, but that's the first phase. Some are connected here via control logic PLCs. And then an exceptional situation, some devices are supposed to be connected via control net. Thomas, I don't know whether you can add just a bit more technical information on this non-standard situation.
Yeah, I can add that. So as I explained before, so we are supporting the routing of the communication via the controller. And since as first step, we need Ethernet IP communication to Allen Bradley systems. But if you have in these hierarchies also segments with the older control net, it's possible to use that as part of this routing and then access HART devices which are connected via control net to an upper layer controller. So that's transparent for our communication.
Yeah, thank you. Then we can go to the next slide. So the customer tried both SmartLink versions. You've just seen we have a hardware product and a software product. Eventually decided to use the software version. As far as we understand, also because that allowed the customer to just use hardware that is already in place, so to say. So it's now the software product installed on the same PC, which also runs Amazon AMS components. Yeah, technical architecture along the lines that Thomas just has shown. Here, HART IP for northbound communication, and as already said, around 400 devices connected here in the first stage. Okay, let's continue. As said, I want to keep it short, 3 minutes over already, but the last one is also a very interesting one. A really big company, oil and gas industry. Next slide, please. So we have here a situation that, yeah, again, the customer is using Amazon AMS and wants to connect HART devices. This is just the most prominent application scenario we see. What was interesting here is that one central team was actually taking architecture and vendor selection decisions for 3 locations or potentially more, but the project started with 3 production sites. And while it's still, you can call it a traditional plant asset management solution, let's say IT boundary conditions, security requirements, and so on played a big role. So you may call it an IT-driven project here, which we have seen here with this customer. Which also meant, for example, that IT security requirements were critical, and process integration here. So regarding technical requirements, again, as said, that was here connectivity via Rockwell PLCs and some remote OS. Actually, I don't know exactly which ones, but anyway. And we had a special requirement here regarding installation. So the SmartLink software module comes as Docker container, but in this case, the customer was using vSphere and, as far as I understand, required a packaging as a virtual machine. Thomas, maybe you can also add just a short comment on that point.
Short note to that one. So as you said, so typically we deliver it as our standard product is a Docker container, but we have seen that it makes sense to also provide virtual machines either to run on Windows, as you mentioned before, or for VMware, like we have in that example. So this virtual machine can then easily be taken and installed on the central server or central vSphere server, which is running the virtual machine containing our software solution, and then nice manageable via IT infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. Then the next slide, which is the last but one slide, so we are nearly done. So here it was a fairly clear decision for the customer to use a software product. I think the customer never really considered here additional hardware. So we have here a first deployment on one production site, 2 additional production sites ongoing this year and to be completed here, later on. Okay, so what did the customer like? It was apparently very simple for him, and also based on this packaging as virtual VMs, we meant it provided scalability, so potentially it will be easy for the customer to roll it out across even more production sites. We met the security requirements that have been relevant. Yeah, and we have here really a big project, so we demonstrate that the products are proven for large projects with large customers, large organizations. Okay, that's it. We have one last slide, which is rather for reference later. Yeah, if you like the webinar, it's part of a webinar series. You have a link. I think, Ramin, we can announce the next one here, if I'm not mistaken, June 24. Which will dive deeper into the specific AMS Rockwell HART device scenario, including presence with a person from Amazon and a live demo. We have a solution page, and I selected some products here with links. You can some links to products you can find here on the bottom. Okay, thank you, Ramin. Back to you.
Yeah, great. We actually have one question which is here, which I will post to Thomas for this moment, which is how many field devices can be connected with one smartLink gateway?
Yeah, so we have, let's say, some practical limitations. If you, for example, seen the previous use case, so there we have up to 5,000 HART devices connected to one instance of this software application. That's also a good practical upper limit, because HART communication is always, let's say, the performance bottleneck, and typically the asset management applications only support a various number of parallel requests to one instance of these HART IP servers. So therefore, it makes sense also to have then, if you go over 5,000, multiple or a second instance running.
I'm just checking to see if we have any further questions coming in. No, we don't. So I say thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Thomas. Look up our website for the next webinars, which will be coming up in this series during the year. And if there are going to be any further questions or need for information, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you for your time and your attention today. Have a good day.